Hi, so today we have with us Anurag Minus Verma, who's written The Great Indian Brain Rot: Love, Lies, and Algorithms in Digital India. So, Anurag, it's a really enjoyable book. It's a thought provoking book. And like I said, just before we started, it's like a work of archaeology. you know, like you excavated the weirdest parts of the Indian internet, which
Yeah.
and all of us are part of it. Like all of us, we're so plugged in all the time, and so I mean, you've spoken about it in the preface and all. But why did you decide to take on this humongous task in book form?
So first of all, thank you so much, Manjula, for inviting me to the show. Humongous task. I mean, it was part of my life for many years because,
Mm,
like I said in the book, I owe my life to internet. Like growing up, I lived mostly around. I lived mostly in the small towns of the Rajasthan, and
mm,
at there is no concept of, let's say, culture in that sense. Obviously there is a traditional culture and
yeah.
everything, but not the culture of reading or exploring the world, or having a different kind of a point of view which differs from the local regional one. So at that time I was extremely, I mean, curious and interested to get out of that world and become some kind of a world citizen who has, who is seeking that kind of a knowledge. So at that time Pirate Bay was something that came to
Mm,
my rescue, and I
mm,
watched so many films through Pirate Bays or even Wikipedia. So
mm,
many authors I have discovered, which was not possible because at that time, in our home there were only, for reading material there were only, like let's say Rajasthan Patrika or some local magazines, but not
mm,
outside of that. So internet is something that have has made me as a as a person. So I have a lot of gratitude and respect for the medium. That's why I think you might have also noticed that I don't take the usual dystopian tone in the book that
yeah,
internet will end everything. We are
yeah, yeah.
screwed and everything is doomed. So I don't take the tone. I
Huh.
just try to understand internet as an extension of the, as a unit of the society, or the extension of
Yes.
the society. And through this particular unit, how can we understand self, society, nation, politics, and everything around
Yes.
us? So I
Yes.
use it as a tool, not to judge this medium as a very independent medium which is totally away from the life, or something that we use internet to discover things. I say this is a part of the life, part of the society, and how do you understand this? You need to make a larger conclusion, or let's say assumption, about the society. So that was the approach I took for the book.
Yes, and it works because you brought out how our minds are so driven by our social circumstances and by society, right? And you brought that out, and how internet is not separate from that, right?
Exactly.
Especially when you bring out how like things like caste and politics and how it plays out online. You know,
Hmm.
I found that very interesting. That chapter where you the Kurukshetra of I think it's Kurukshetra chapter.
Caste, yeah, yeah, on
Yeah, yeah.
Kurukshetra of the
Digital
caste,
Kurukshetra.
digital
That's a
Kurukshetra.
great chapter, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like you've taken, and the thing is that it's difficult to understand while it's playing out, right? When
Hmm.
these things, when these two guys, bodybuilders or whatever, whoever they are, gym rats, they start fighting with each other while it's happening. You can't understand the why it's happening, or
Yeah,
you just know. You don't know why Elvish Yadav is so big, but
yeah.
he's big. There are posts like in Gurgaon, when I'm driving past some flyover on the pillar, there's this huge, painting of him, stuff
Gurgaon,
like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that essay kind of put it in perspective, all this, and so you want to talk about that, and it feels like
yeah, yeah.
you've done a lot of research on it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so talk about that.
Research on that, and also like I don't want it to understand caste just from the usual perspective of, let's
Yes.
say, Dalits and the Savarnas,
Yeah.
because how the internet, the very different kind of uh, system is being played out around the caste, and there are so many middle caste who have
Hmm.
this anxiety and some kind of a desperation to move up the ladder, and
Yes.
they are doing it through creating some form of a digital mythology. So they are
Mm.
altering their own, history, and in that, so I find that desperation to be, let's say, kshatriyahood, which is an open space. For example,
Yes.
you can't become a Brahmin, but kshatriya, I think many community can claim that they are
Yeah.
kshatriyas, they were kshatriyas. So that is happening all around northern India. So I find it very amusing on a personal scale, like how every community is trying to build their own mythology through these songs, through reels and edits. So that was one of the vintage point from where I started, and then I started looking at different people who are doing it. For example, I take the example of two bodybuilder that you have said about, and obviously about Elvish Yadav, and what kind of iconography he has. So I talk about that. He's the first Yadav to get that many vote post in the post Mandal world, but that vote is from Big Boss,
Yes.
not from the parliament. So
Yeah.
he's there. And then I also take the example of a recent fight between two MLAs, two, I think, ex MLAs from Uttarakhand. So one was from the Brahmin community and one was
Mm.
from the Gujar community.
Mm.
And there was an online war between them, although
Mm.
mainstream media didn't capture it that much. But
Mm.
those who are chronically online and interested in the subculture will know that what is going on. And
Yeah.
it became a very regular thing, like two communities are fighting because of some personal issue. Not two community, two creator or two people are fighting because of the personal issue. And then suddenly it becomes totally about the caste, and every community then make their own reels, make their own edits. So I was very interested in how it is playing out in the digital world. So that's how I mean, there were a lot of data that I had researched, but mostly through these pages. I went through this many, some kind of rabbit hole of the internet and captured many different kind of a detail. So that was, I mean, personally, it was also a bit challenging task because you are not looking at the cast from the usual point of
Yes.
view,
Yes.
which by now became very easy for me because I'm studying it since so many years. So I also wanted to challenge myself to look it from a very different standpoint. So
Mm.
that chapter was the product of it, and I also wanted to make it very entertaining. So that aspect is also there. That everything has to be stylish, entertaining, as well as insightful. So so
Mm.
and also something which is not done before, like it has to be little unusual from what there is. So yeah, that was the method I adopted for this particular chapter.
Mm. So, how long did the whole book take you to write?
To write, I think around 1.5 year or something.
Oh,
But research was going on, like research, like as in I had interest in it, so I was just
yeah.
looking at it. And earlier I thought I'm just wasting my time, but luckily I got the book. Otherwise, I had no idea what to do with that data that I consumed.
Oh,
It would be totally trivia.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you've got, but all the trivia is really interesting.
yeah,
Because you've got, and the trivia makes it, gives it that authenticity,
yeah.
the book. And also,
Yeah.
even things like the Sushant Singh episode, the way you've dealt with it, you really brought out stuff that, I mean, all the stuff that happened, and you want to talk about that because it was a time, like you said, when people were bored, and also, we all get very triggered very quickly, and
Yeah.
it just brought out stuff like, I mean, when it was happening, I thought this is, like how in maybe 2 centuries ago, how after a husband died, the
Mhm.
widow was cast out and stoned or whatever, and told
Yeah.
to get out of the house. It almost had that, and of course the witchcraft angle. It spoke of some very
Bengali Kala Jadoo and that.
yeah,
Yeah, there were
some
many.
very
Uh,
unhealthy vibe in
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
The whole thing. So talk about.
So my interest on this particular chapter was because I once went to Bahangad. Bahangad is called as one of the most
Yeah, yeah. I've been.
scariest and one of the scariest place in Asia and whatnot. So I
Yeah.
made a fun video around it because I didn't find it that scary. At
They
that
let you stay
time,
the night?
I went once at around 12 in the night, and the second time
Okay.
was in the daytime. There was nothing
Okay.
scary, but it's, I think, little bit spooky because it's all, I mean, the broken architecture, and
Yeah.
there are random monkeys, and there are some
Yeah.
peacocks who are there. So it is something unusual, but I didn't find. But the main idea was that during when I was making the video, so I was just searching for the ghost stories and everything.
Mm.
And then on YouTube, I found a very strange video in which there was a ghost catcher from the US. His name is Steve. And he said that tonight he's going to talk to Sushant Singh Rajput. Sushant
Yeah.
died few days back. He said,
Mm.
tonight I'm going to talk to him.
How
And
did
then
he?
he
How did he settle on Sushant Singh Rathod? This
I don't-
guy, the
that's
actor in US.
because that was the trending topic in India. Everybody was talking about it, and
Mm.
whatever you put on Sushant Singh Rajput, you will get millions of view. And
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
like I said, that these were the bounty hunters of the YouTube monetization program. So everybody wanted to make something on the Sushant Singh Rajput. So he bought his some equipments, ghost equipment. He said that Sushant's uh, soul will come and talk to me tonight.
Yeah.
And then suddenly those equipment, there's a voice in it, and he said something like, they try to kill me, something like that, very electronic voice. One couldn't understand what he's saying. And that video went viral all over
Ah.
the internet, and there were many
Mm-hmm.
news publication who picked it up and said that maybe Sushant is alive and things like that. So I thought that this is going in a extremely extremely absurd zone. So I
Yeah.
got very curious to then follow it and how it is going to turn out. And then when I, for the book, when I saw these many kind of conspiracy theory that people were making at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and there were also many YouTubers who earlier used to be some fitness channel yoga trainers who suddenly became conspiracy theorists. So it seems that entire India then digital India, at least the people who are online, became conspiracy theorists, and
Yeah.
they came out with. I also say that if you, the only way to preserve the memory of a celeb is by conspiracy theory.
Mm.
Otherwise, that memory die downs very quickly. But if
Yeah.
there is some kind of a conspiracy theory attached to it, then it becomes a talking point for more than it should have been. Same thing
Yes.
happened with Sri Devi and Sri Devi
Yeah.
and Bonnie Kapoor, and there were
Yeah.
many conspiracy theory at that time as
Yes.
well.
Yes. Yes.
So, but this time it was like free flow, and the post geo world, there was a chances of monetizing your bullshit, monetizing your theories, fake news. So it went into a very wild zone. And then there was somebody in the Bihar who was arrested. I think he earned maybe around 20-25 lakhs through these
Yeah.
fake news. So he was
Yeah.
someone who was
Yeah.
arrested in Bihar. Then there were many YouTubers who were arrested at that time. So I also, at that time, I also thought that it should be a part of some kind of a surrealist drama, some kind of a absurd film, because I'm also interested in filmmaking. So I thought I'll make something around that. What is happening? Then obviously the whole Chakravarti and the national misogyny in the full
Yeah.
frontal, like कि औरत है तो उसने किया होगा, ये इसके पीछे थी, इसने भड़काया, इसके पैसे
Yeah.
ले लिए, some like everywhere it was going on. So through this book, it was so absurd that I still can't make sense of it. But through this book, I tried to, at least put everything in order, like what exactly was happening, and what kind of theories people were giving at that time. People were also believing in it, like some dark web theory, like
Mm.
Sushant's
Yeah. Yeah.
murder was live telecasted, and Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan are watching it live. These kind of theories people used to believe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I thought,
Anything goes. No?
yeah. So that time in fact, I use the phrase in the book that democratization of misinformation. For example, earlier if you used to spread fake news, then you may have to own a media house or something.
Yes.
But now everybody can spread their own fake news and narrative. So that is a new world, which we see
Yeah.
in many different episodes
Yes.
regularly. There is some
Yes.
kind of a big event happen, and people then start circulating many fake news. And it's also there in the US. I won't say it's something that very Indian specific. In US also, many
Yes.
conservative groups, many far right groups, they also spread these kind of conspiracy. In fact, Sushant's conspiracy theory was also, lot many theories were inspired by the US far right theories, which were some related to Jews and related to many
Yes.
other incidents. So they also used it. So there is also some kind of a similarity between these two as well.
Mm. And also, how clearly, I mean, earlier, because there wasn't a medium to like bring this all out in, a shared medium. People are thinking about all these things. Maybe they're discussing it at tapris and having their having a good time discussing it. But now it's like millions of people doing the same thing together in this digital
Yeah,
space,
yeah.
right? So it takes on a different sort of shape, right?
I think also in the recent time, the YouTube also changed their policy. Maybe after the Sushant Singh episode, now
Hmm.
if they think that any incident is very sensitive, then they just remove the monetization feature from there. So it
Oh.
became very, but that happened after the Sushant Singh episode because they realized that Indians are out to hunt that monetization program. So they then
Yeah,
created a fence around it to, secure that tijori. So,
yeah.
so yeah.
And also, how television took it up and ran with it. That also says something. I mean, if mainstream media can also participate in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
sort of bullying and so, but
Mhm.
so talk about that.
In
You
fact, if
you touch on it in the thing, but of course it's because they're also part of it. You
that,
know
that,
what
that,
I'm talking
that
about.
time
Yeah.
also very interesting thing happened was that Republic was launched.
Yes.
So Arnab's channel Republic was a
Yeah.
new, and Arnab, as we know, is an extremely ambitious person, and he wanted
Yes.
to make his channel viral, or let's say
Yeah.
TRP, as they say. So
Yeah.
first it started online, like people were giving ridiculous story, which went viral. Then Arnab started it, and when other news media saw that it is getting that kind of TRP, then everybody started doing
Yeah.
it. And I think the both were competing with each other
Yes.
in those misinformation. But even recently during Operation Sindoor, also I think many
Yeah.
users started it. Then mainstream picked it up. They also started it. So now I think online world and the TV world both have some kind of a competition. So I think
Yeah.
they are also related to each other. Yeah,
Yeah. So now it's become like, social media and television are both feeding off each other,
competing.
right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah.
there's no,
Which is the
there's no
Twitter is
difference.
basically for that. Like lot
Yeah.
many people say that Twitter is I mean, not many people use Twitter in India even at the
Yeah.
moment. There are very
Yeah.
less Indians on Twitter as compared to Facebook, which is the I think still the number one medium, or the
Okay.
Instagram. But Twitter people use very less. But Twitter
Mm.
is an influential medium because a narrative can be shaped from Twitter. So when the
Yes.
narrative is shaped, then mainstream media picks it up. When mainstream media picks it up, it becomes very big. So
Yeah.
in that sense, Twitter becomes the most influential medium, despite the fact that there are not many Indians on this app.
Mm.
So this is how it happens. Like any narrative which picks up on the Twitter, then mainstream media picks it up, and then it becomes viral. So same thing has happened with this episode.
Mm. Mm. So what did you leave out? Were there some in these chapters you've touched on many different things, but were there chapters that you didn't include?
I think there were few chapters. I don't remember exactly, but obviously there were few chapter that was scrapped. The one was on the dance, like why entire India is dancing at the moment. I tried to. I couldn't like pinpoint exactly where I'm going, so I because there was many, very interestingly, there were many places where TikTok was banned.
Hmm.
So like on many temples they banned TikTok, like people making TikTok, so they would say TikTok is not allowed. And then
Hmm.
on Jama Masjid also they put up a hoarding that said TikTok banana allowed nahi hai.
Hmm.
So that time I also wanted to connect that this is at least one point where Hindu and Muslim of this country are coming together. It's TikTok is
इसमें टिकटॉक
bringing
को ही
that
बैन
kind of
कर
thing.
दिया.
Then they banned TikTok also. So, so that dance chapter was something I wanted to explore in detail, but I couldn't get to the actual argument through that. So that couldn't complete. And more apart from that, I think, that was the only chapter which I didn't write. Yeah.
You
Mm.
also deal with how how sometimes some people become extremely famous and then they disappear, and it's like such a blow to self-esteem and everything. And you you know that fear of vanishing, it's a very
Yeah.
internet phenomenon, right? I mean, in the
Yeah. Yeah.
like earlier, and how you pointed out, like the afterlife of many of these celebrities who were I mean, they were done and dusted, like maybe in the 90s, and now nobody ever dies. Like, you know, they come back in new avatars online, and we
Yeah.
have this sort of nostalgia for even the smallest bit players, and some, you know, something that we grew up with, and then you see them again online, and then they have millions of followers, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about that. You've touched on that too, and that's a very interesting phenomenon, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in general, like for example, for celebrities as well, they have some time. For example, you released one film, it worked or it didn't work. The
Mm.
next film will take at least 3, 4 years, sometime 2 years, 3 years. At least you have 2 years minimum
Mm.
for the
Mm.
next film. So that timing is there. Uh, but on internet, it is like that. I made a video today, it didn't work. Then I would be extremely anxious, and I will be. I mean, if there are less views on YouTube, then people might start saying within a week or within a month that downfall. They will comment downfall started. Downfall started. So it is so quick on the internet that disappearance, that complete disappearance can happen very quickly. So
Yes.
this is one of the reason the internet fame also feel like that, running on the treadmill kind of thing. You're constantly running, and even if
Mm.
there is some kind of break, you just mistake it for a failure. So this is why, every manager on the internet will tell you to publish something every day. अरे 2 दिन हो गया
Mm.
publish क्यों नहीं किया? Even many celebrity manager of the actor will tell them कि अरे 3 दिन हो गया publish क्यों नहीं किया? 4 दिन हो गया publish क्यों नहीं किया? So the internet is that medium where you have to constantly do something to feel
Yeah.
relevant. And this is
Mm.
the reason why you may say that some people are acting cringe. Some people, why they are acting cringe, it's because of their insecurities. So it's not because they are so excited in their life or enthusiastic in their life, but there is an insecurity that they might wipe off from this internet anytime. So that makes it a very different medium as compared to cinema or TV. And I also talk about many influencers who try to
Yes.
then, move from internet to films, and most of them don't succeed in this medium. And I said the reason because in earlier time also there was many migration from TV to, let's say, films. But then
Yeah.
TV actors are mostly trained actor. They know how to face camera, they know how to handle that attention or capture the attention of the audience for longer than 60 seconds. But internet, there is no such training as such, more than
Mm.
60 second or more than 70 seconds. So that transition is not as smooth as people think that हाँ ये internet पे अच्छा करता है तो ये फिल्मों में भी अच्छा करेगा. No, because
Mm.
that's they are completely different medium. TV and cinema has a lot of similarity. Internet, social media reel has very very less similarity with the cinema or TV. So that migration also becomes very difficult. And third thing which you said about that, the caching of the nostalgia. So there are many people who were once relevant, they come back in the recent time, they are coming back, and their managers or their content managers are telling them to how to capture the attention of the Gen Z. So I say that everybody now want to land their helicopters on the subconscious of Gen Z, because they have the internet is more about Gen Z more than millennial or boomers. So
Yeah.
everybody want to feed to, so they will use these lingos, these words, although they are themselves maybe more 50 plus, 60 plus, but they will behave like they are Gen Z. They are still
Yeah.
talking to them and everything. So that phenomena we have seen recently. So there are many people who came back, and I name some of them in the book.
Yes.
So they now try to capture that fame that is not there anymore through these medium. So yeah, that's also an interesting phenomena.
Yeah, but there's such desperation. I mean, you know, like your book brings that out. Of course, one knows it vaguely, but you know, you kind of focus on, and it brings out the desperation. Like, were we always like this, or you know, has this easy access because we have the internet in our hands, has driven us kind of nuts in a way, right?
Yeah,
You know.
because I think the idea of the validation is that it is never sufficient. like
Yeah, it's
kitna bhi
never enough.
validation mil jaye, it's never
Uh,
enough. So and there is also some kind of a strange hangover of the validation too. For example, for 2 3 days, if some of, let's say किसी ने एक अच्छा कुछ film बना दिया, something they have done, but it just
mhm.
then lasts just for 1 month, or let's say 30 days, 40 days, 50 days maximum.
Yeah.
Then what happens? Similarly, your video go viral 3 days, people are talking about. How
Yeah.
about fourth day, like the void of the fourth day? So you don't know what to do, how to get that attention back, because you want more. You want validation every day that whatever you're doing is right, whatever, you as a personality are very interesting person and everything. So that is the paradox of the validation, that it is not enough,
Never
and
enough.
never enough for anybody, not just
Yeah.
for social media creator, I would say,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
anybody, for
That's true.
any celebrity, anybody. So this is the reason, there is every day there is some kind of a struggle to get that validation back, or at least get their sufficient diet of the validation every day. So that, so so at least the diet is maintained, even if it is not more, so at least a basic diet is maintained. So everybody is going towards that. In fact, there was a very interesting incident. There was, I think, Amitabh Bachchan, I had during COVID time, there was somebody who wrote a nasty comment on some very random guy. Some wrote some nasty comment, कि something like मर जा, ऐसे कुछ, something like that. तो अमिताभ then responded him कि ठोक डालो इसको, ऐसे something like that. He also wrote something very nasty. So I thought, somebody like Amitabh Bachchan, who got all the attention, all the
Yeah.
validation
Yeah.
that any human being can think of, even at this age, that one bad comment has triggered him. Even at
Yes.
this
Yeah.
age, when he got everything, he doesn't need any validation from anybody, any certification from anybody, but that one bad comment still hurts. So that is the story of, I think lot many, most of the people, like
But
it's
he too,
never
he's
enough.
still working. He's so old and he's still
Yeah,
working.
still
You
working.
know, why is he still working? That is the
I
question,
don't know.
right?
I think some people are prisoners of routine as well. Like if
Yeah.
if you remove the routine from the life, for example, there is a very famous influencer. So he still works with news channel. So I
Mm.
asked him once, why do you go to work, man? Like you can get so many brand deals and everything. You don't need to work. But he said,
Yeah.
यार भाई सुबह से जो है ना 9 to 5 का मुझे, अगर अगर वो स्ट्रक्चर खत्म हो गया मेरी लाइफ से, आई थिंक आई विल लूज लॉट ऑफ थिंग इन माई लाइफ. आई वांट दैट स्ट्रक्चर. आई डोंट वांट टू बी अवे फ्रॉम अ स्ट्रक्चर. So some
Yeah.
people just work to follow a certain structure of every
That's
day, and
true.
it keeps them in some kind of a discipline. So maybe,
Yeah.
I
Comfort.
don't know,
You know, the comfort of
comfort,
that structure.
comfort of the routine. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that is the reason I think people work mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I never worked in my life, so
I mean,
I,
come on.
I don't know.
Work has not gone to an office
Nah,
and
never been to office.
stand up like
Maybe
that. Yeah.
once, like during call center days, I went, but that was long back. I think 16
Yeah.
years back. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, you mentioned that also. Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
even the cringe content thing chapter is
Yeah.
great. And that guy, Puneet
Pune
Superstar,
superstar. Hmm.
let's talk about him. He's such a character, man. You know?
Yeah, that was long back. Maybe during the pandemic, I was watching this guy, and I've mentioned a particular video that he's just driving, some like sitting behind a bike, under some Gurgaon flyover, and he's just screaming, doing nothing, just screaming. And the scream normally ends in 6 seconds, 7 seconds, but that scream was for, like, let's say around 1 minute or longer than that.
God.
So that
God.
made that video very unusual, even from that art film perspective, that a short duration should be 7 7 seconds, but that shot extended to 30 30 30 seconds. So that's like a deluge ka time image. As- so I was very surprised, like, what is happening? And then I wrote some comment on YouTube that it's like Edward Munch scream, in Gurgaon.
Uh,
And something was very weird. So I got hooked to his content back then. So then I started following, and then I realized he's a connoisseur of nothingness. He does nothing basically in
uh,
his videos. There's nothing is happening, and at that time he had around 1,000 followers, something maybe less than that.
Mm.
So I started talking to him, and I said that I want to invite you to my podcast.
Mm.
And initially, he had no idea at that time what is podcast, so I had to
Yeah, yeah.
convince him.
Uh,
So we scheduled the podcast for. I mean, we scheduled the podcast, but then I was waiting for him. He didn't come. He said, "मैं कुछ सब्जी लाने चला गया था, मुझे याद नहीं." तो फिर then I struggled to uh, uh, make him understand that you have to be there. It's a podcast, serious podcast, and everything. The second time he came to the podcast, and he said that I want to. I mean, he's told his life story, like how he was a big star on TikTok, but then TikTok banned, and then he's in this medium. But it's gentrification is of
yeah,
a different
yeah.
kind of people. I don't know if I'll succeed or not.
Mm.
Then he also had a hope that मैं इस medium का चक्का जाम करूंगा, and he had some kind of this medium as a city जहाँ चक्का जाम हो सकता है, ये अपनी गाड़ियाँ लेके आएगा. That's some kind of a
Mm.
absurd way of thinking, which I really liked, because I thought there's some kind of a dreamer in him, and he's trying to make it. And I also mentioned there was something emotional about that part as well in the initial days.
Mm. Mm.
And I had no idea how he will succeed. Even during the podcast also, he most of the time chewing his own microphone, so the sound quality is very bad at that time.
God.
So, but something happened after, let's say, 1 year or 2 years. He became an internet phenomena, and
Mm.
became extremely viral on internet. And obviously Big Boss also called him. And when
Mm.
Big Boss threw him out of the house, then his fans got so angry that they downgraded the rating of Geo Cinema. Initially it was more than 4, then it became around 2.3 or something. So I
Mm.
found it very interesting how a man who's living in Dilshad Garden of Delhi can
Mm.
send tremors to the to the Ambani house in Mumbai, and that can only happen through internet, because
Yeah.
there is no structure, there is no method to get popular. And this is also a new thing. Nobody knows what is going to work. Nobody
Yes.
can tell you, like, if you make this content, then you'll become successful, you become aware. There's no rules as such.
Yeah.
So that unstructuredness of it, I really like. And that was something like that was when I also got interested in many other cringe people, whom people call cringe
Yeah.
creators.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are many people who are living near my house in Noida as well. So I met them, interviewed them, and spent time with them. So I try to understand and give a very different point of view from, let's say, regular just laughing on them point of view.
Yes.
I try to humanize them and understand their struggle, what they are trying to do in life, how they are seeing internet as a mode of escape, and also mode to sustain their life. And there is a human story in that. I think there is a lot of
Yeah.
human story in that, so I try
Yeah.
to pick on that human story rather than just making fun of them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I
Yeah.
found
Hmm.
interesting about your book is that you're not, it's very easy to ridicule
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and it's also, that's cringe also. I mean, you see many of those people who are so class conscious, and
Hmm.
that's easy to do if you're that sort of person. But what you've done is that you've like looked at them seriously, and you've got insights from their experience also, which is original, you know.
And also that aspect of, like, people used to make fun of these people initially, but when
Mm,
the internet shifted, algorithm shifted, then the same people started doing the same thing. They in fact appropriated their culture, their behavior.
yeah.
Now everybody, like, that became things became very famous. I'm cringe, so I'm free. So cringe then
Yeah.
became associated with being free, being nonchalant, somebody who doesn't give a damn about the life. And there are many people who then started making reels based on the audio by these creators. Many
Yes.
people who would otherwise may not
Yeah.
talk to them when they find
Yes.
them, meet them on the street, but they are still making the reels of their audio. So which I find very interesting. Like, recently there was two girls from the UP who went viral. Their
Uh,
name is Mahak Pari, and police arrested them because for making obscene content, as they say obscene, but they they basically use gali galoch in their content.
Yes,
So
yes.
the UP police arrested them, and I find them very, very interesting because these two are Muslim women in UP, and they have no fear. There's no idea of fear, so they are more like a Tarantino characters for me. So now
Yeah,
everybody is making content on their dialogue, which I can't say here, but something which is something to related to. अरे खुद पे ध्यान दे, हम तो पहले से ही गलत रास्ते पे निकले हुए हैं
yeah.
तो
Even, yeah, even that old woman with a big guy garment.
that also, that, yeah,
Yeah,
long back, accidentally viral. She
yeah,
was the accidentally viral fame.
yeah.
So although she was not the creator, these are the creators who
Yes, yes.
are. In fact, I also called Mahak Pari to the podcast once,
Oh,
but the
okay.
manager said that minimum 50,000 we charge otherwise.
My goodness.
so, so yeah. So
Yeah,
I like these people. I'm very curious to understand them. Misfits,
yeah,
loners, losers. I have a lot of interest in these people personally, and not just from an exotic lens, but from a very human lens. Like, I really want to understand how they think, how they live their life, their routines. I have a lot of interest. That's why I know it's special interest in celebrities as such, but more on these
yeah.
misfit kind of a people. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wish that you had written more about the Rakhi Sawant phenomenon. You know, like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that was too short. Because
I
again,
think
she
Rakhi
also, she also
deserves
is like this. She deserves more space in
she
your book.
deserves a complete chapter because she's my
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah,
She's
she's
my
mine
favorite.
also. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Once somebody added me. I mean, there's some person who lives in the same society
Uh-huh.
society building where Rakhi Sawant lives, and there is that
Oh,
apartment group. Every
uh,
society has that group
yeah,
on
yeah.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah, so they added me also, and I
Wow.
was surprised what is Raki doing in that group. So she is not doing just because the camera is facing. She is like that.
She's
In
like
that
that
group, she's
only.
saying, "अरे चाबी खो गई मैं." Like there are voicemails.
Yeah.
अरे चाबी खो गई मैं बंद हूँ अंदर क्या करूँ. अरे कोई सब्जी लेने जा रहा है तो मेरी भी सब्जी ला दो. Something like random things she is doing
On the building group.
in the building rooms. Like sometimes she's singing songs. So I have a deep, uh, deep interest in Rakhi Sawant,
Yeah.
and I also tried to contact her once, but yeah, it didn't work out. But
Oh,
she's super interesting. Even
she's very
recently, I
interesting.
was she was cooking some food. I think for the that Farah Khan show, and she says that this is ये माँ की दाल और ये बाप का चावल.
She
She
used
is.
so much, man.
I mean, she's the queen.
Yeah,
In of
yeah,
this universe, there's nobody like her. I really like her.
seriously. Yeah. So if there's one thing that I thought that your book should have done was feature a little more on her, because yeah,
Actually, she deserves one complete chapter because there is a story of her. She initially
yeah,
started as a dancer. She's a very good dancer, very
yes,
talented
yes,
dancer. So she
yes,
came to the Bollywood to become an actress, a dancer.
yes,
But over the year, when she realized that it is not happening, and then she moved a completely different trajectory, which
yeah,
is different from what her real talent is. She's a very good dancer.
yes,
So maybe someday I'll write about that trajectory, and that her relationship with the Bollywood, and that disillusionment with
yeah,
world itself. To If you are moving into a complete absurd zone, then there has to be some kind of a delusion with the world, because you are not interested anymore. Then you move into that complete absurd zone, that I'll do
yeah,
whatever I'll do, because I have no ambition, and nobody can challenge that ambition, or nobody can do harm to those ambitions. So then you move to. So
yeah.
I'll write something about that in detail someday. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
look forward to that. And also, the way we look at her has also changed, because I remember
Hmm.
in until a few years ago, people were very dismissive about her. They'd say very mean things about her. I remember on Twitter some this is many years ago, some stand-up guy saying very mean things about it. And I said, boss, you're being, really classist, and you're acting as if you're very great. So
Hmm.
this was a regular thing, and people used to like kind of shit on her for being herself. And when she's actually quite something, she's really quite a person. So
I
that
think that
has
also.
changed.
Hmm.
Nobody does that anymore. They wouldn't dare,
Yeah.
actually. You know.
I think that's also a cultural change because and that internet should be credited for the same thing, for the Rakhi Sawant
Mm.
re-emergence, as not
Mm.
as a, you know not, they're not looking from the class angle, but they also are mimicking some of the activities of the Rakhi Sawant, and some people
Mm.
now really like Rakhi Sawant, and the
Yeah.
way she is unapologetic and
Yes.
person with great sense of humor. She has a great sense of humor like that. But even the internet, if you look at, let's say, re-emergence of somebody like Imran Hashmi. So Imran Hashmi was a working class and hero, considered as very cheap, or serial kisser,
Yeah.
or the somebody whose audience are, the people used to say in my time, रिक्शे वालों की ऑडियंस है इसकी, तो या फिर उन उन लोगों की इसकी ऑडियंस है. So Imran Hashmi, you can't say that I like Imran Hashmi when I was in college. If I say I like Imran
Mm.
Hashmi, then they will say, अच्छा ये तो उस type का इंसान है. Taste is very bad. But in the recent time, the Imran Hashmi also re-emerged as some kind of a Lord Imran, or Imranism became a big thing because of the meme pages. So
Yeah.
that is the thing with irony, is that initially everything starts with the irony, but in internet irony, people often then lose the distinction between the real and the irony, and as the jokes move on, then people don't realize that was it irony or was it said in a real admiration. So that has happened with Imran Hashmi. Now people love Imran Hashmi. Like you can say
Yeah.
proudly that I am Imranian. I love Lord Imran. And even the recent film, that film, no, not that series, that
Yeah. Yeah.
Bats of Bollywood. So
Yeah.
Imran re-emerged. Same thing happened
Yeah.
with Bobby Deol. Bobby Deol was initially
Yes.
ridiculed as a flop actor, as somebody who has no talent, nothing,
Yeah.
and poor boy also struggled a lot. He also says in one interview that how he was struggling with the alcoholism and everything, alcoholic behavior and everything. So but now Bobby Deol, I think there were many pages Lord Bobby and everything. So when they started Bobby Deol, like people say that yes, we I love Soldier film, I love Bichu, I love Badal, these film. So that culture has also shifted to that low definition. uh,
Mm.
m- it's a yeah, it's shifted to a low definition in terms of aesthetic. Let's say, for example, now even the videos are not like completely polished, sanitized as it used to be earlier. Like there is a proper lighting, proper everything, then video go viral. But now anything can go viral. Anything can be a very
Yeah.
low aesthetic. Lighting can be bad, but as long as what one is saying is interesting, then it will travel. So we are also seeing that shift of the culture. So in that, I think all these characters, all these people are having their moment again.
Mm. And at this point that you make about irony, suddenly first you start in an ironic fashion, and then people forget, and then it
Yeah,
actually the irony thing turns into actual admiration, and you
yeah.
don't know at what point that happens. You brought that out. I didn't even think of this, and you're right.
Same thing happened with Puneet Superstar. Like people
Ah,
called him Lord Puneet, but he wasn't Lord or anything. It was the irony that he's a Lord Puneet. But then people started believing that he's Lord, and they're kind of had that kind of a cultish thing that lasted for a while. Now I think Puneet going through a downfall, like the real downfall. But in that moment, everybody started believing the irony they created. So I think it is very much on the internet, with many figures, not just Puneet, but many figures they do it.
now this phenomenon of the influencer, and you've written about it in this chapter. But I mean, there's such desperation there, and it doesn't seem like it'll ever be viable. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's like these people are setting themselves up for failure somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
you
Mostly,
know?
mostly.
So, yeah, but they still persist in it. So this is what are the mental health implications of this for these poor people, and there's so many of them every day. New people emerge. And you know,
I think it's because the entry barrier is zero
ah,
and the promise is huge. Like for example, they see this their influence, they see the influencer they love and how much they are earning. For example, now every influencer, to denote that he or she has arrived, they will post a picture of a showroom where they bought a car and there are parents around it. So that is also a content thing. Like the
ah,
पीछे parent है, family है, car है. So that is the moment that they have, right? Every influencer does that. And when they, I think when many people see it कि अरे यार कि ये, and influencer का ये भी है कि people think they are somebody they know. There is some kind of a parasocial relationship as well कि ये हमारा ही member
mm,
है. I know this person very well because you are consuming in that sense.
mm.
So this give hope to so many people, and since entry barrier is zero, so I call influencer boom as the BPO boom of 2000, early 2000, where
Yeah,
anybody can enter and there is no
yeah,
permanence thing in it, like you
yeah,
can leave anytime or join anytime kind of a thing,
yeah,
and there can be a quick money that can be made.
yeah.
So that has gave people aspiration for this particular medium. And even the recently when they saw somebody like, let's say Puneet, or let's say somebody like Elvish Yadav, Rajat Dalal, or some very local, Shivangi Singh is her name, I think. Yeah. So many local people who were going to the Big Boss, then they realized that maybe they also have chance. So whenever I visit Noida and talk to these people, they have one primary aspiration, that is कि भैया बिग बॉस पहुंचा दो हमें किसी किसी भी तरह से. So the
Oh,
big boss become the center of central aspiration tower where they want to go. So it's more like how IIT aspirants want to go IIT, like the quota IIT aspirant in quota, preparing for, they are preparing for big boss. And to be invited, and to get invited in big boss is only through ridiculous ways, only through creating some kind
yeah,
of polarization, some kind of controversy. So everybody is doing it, but the success rate is very low. The people don't realize that there are very less people who succeed and there are very less people who earn actual money. and
yes,
and then there are very few people who earn money for a longer duration in a sustained way.
yes,
You can earn money in your fame for 3 months, 6 months, 7 months. Then there can be an absolute downfall and nobody would care about you. So
yeah,
that duration is very short because you haven't built a dedicated audience that can support you through and throughout. So I can see that now many people are also dealing with that kind of a downfall. Like they earn good for like 7 months, 8 months, and then there is suddenly they have nothing to do. And other part of wasting your time in that influencer business for too long is that then you don't really learn any skill to
mm,
become an influencer, or there's no actual skill to become an influencer. Like to become an actor, you have to
yeah,
prepare your craft and everything, or
yeah,
to become anything like engineer or whatever. But influencer, I'm not saying it's a easy job. It's a very difficult job because you're
yeah,
putting yourself in front of camera to many strangers who are commenting about your looks, about
yeah,
what you do. It's very difficult. I'm not
it's very difficult.
saying that it's an easy job, but it's not still a very skillful job, I would say, where you
Mm,
practice one skill every day. so
mm,
so so because of that, if this thing doesn't work out for you for let's say 4 years, 5 years, then there is a possibility that you may not understand what to do in the life because you haven't acquired that kind of skill, which I think also happen with lot many UPSC aspirants, because they then completely loosen out the track of life after 5 6 years, then what to do in life.
yeah,
So there is a danger to that as well. But about mental health part, I mean, it's so you are like listening the you are watching the comments of so many people on
yeah.
your
And people
feed
are
who
rude.
are,
They're really
and
rude.
people are very rude.
Yeah,
People are very rude, and they are so rude that they will try to pinpoint exactly where it hurts the most, so they
yeah.
will
What
exactly
an
choose that.
instinct.
I respect some of these men. Gauri, yaar, he knows.
Yeah,
It's not a generic comment. He knows
yeah,
where to hurt.
yeah,
So this happens. So mental health and these things are, I mean, serious implication of mental health crisis can happen because of that. And also because this medium is so new, there are nobody who knows what to do. There are
Yeah.
no guideline as such, as
Yes.
let's say compared to TV or cinema. There is no guideline on how to do it. There is no industry as such, although many
Yeah.
people call it in creator economy. It
Yes.
doesn't mean anything.
It
There is no
doesn't mean.
economy. There
Yeah.
is no industry. It's a
Mm.
very new thing, and people are just figuring it out what to do with it. So what could be the exact implication? Maybe we can study after 10 years when you look back, like, have we totally screwed our mental health,
Mm.
or was it a very interesting period of time? We don't know. We need to give it some time to understand it, because right now we are in the middle of it. So
Yes.
it is very difficult to make an assumption, even for me, to say that this is this or this is that. But I can understand that within this influencer thing, the more I meet people, there's something which is essentially very wrong, and yeah, one has to be very careful about that. At least I can say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you brought out how the audience doesn't follow you. Like, it doesn't follow you from your, like, your phone screen.
Myth of follower count. Yeah.
Yeah, the follower count, it doesn't make any difference. You might have millions following you on, whatever, Reels, Insta, whatever. But it doesn't translate if you get a film role or a web
Yeah.
series.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You could just tank very easily. Nobody watches it.
Actually, we were also talking about the some book. Obviously, I can't tell which book, but we are talking about the book. So the author has more than million followers, but that doesn't translate into sales, because
Yeah.
followers are just like, onlookers, can, like, just very casual passing by or fleeting glance wale follower.
Yes.
So they are not very invested in you. But there are some
Yes.
people who have 90,000 followers, but they can sell maybe, let's say, 10 times, or 50 times, 100 times more book than somebody who has 1 million followers. So this idea of judging everything by follower count is a very poor way of looking at the influence. So
Yeah.
that I mentioned in the books. There are
Yes,
many
you mentioned
people
that.
who have very less follower, but they are more influential in their field,
Mm.
and their followers are very dedicated. And I give very interesting examples. So there is one, I know one friend who has more than 1 million, around 1 million follower on
I think I
YouTube.
know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name, but
I see. So
yeah.
he earns around 30,000, 40,000.
Mm.
Okay, despite having 1 million follower. Then there
Oh.
is one of my friend who has 5,000 follower, only 5,000. He
Mm.
earns 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh rupees from 5,000 follower, because they are extremely dedicated follower. They pay money for the membership, YouTube membership, and
His
yeah,
content
he
will be
earns more than that.
solid, na? His
Content is
content.
solid, aimed for
Mm.
that intellectual audience,
Mm.
and there's a value in it. It's not
Mm.
a empty brain rot content. So
Mm.
it's very different than how people normally assume that how how the idea of influence works. So that I try to explain in the book as well.
Yeah, you
I
mentioned
think, yeah.
Prajakta Kohli also, who actually has
Hmm.
sold very well.
Yeah, yeah, she
Apparently.
sold, I
Yeah.
think, more than lakhs
Yeah.
of copies. So that is also a good way to judge the influence, if your audience is really interested in you or not, because not everybody is who follows you is interested in you. Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
somebody are just there to you know to judge you, or wait for your downfall,
Time
that
pass,
they can be
time pass. I
satisfied.
mean,
Time pass. Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
it's
time
like
pass.
that. And fandom is very different from followers. That is also two different the things, and there is a very clear distinction between what is fandom and what
Mm.
is follower. Somebody can have a lot of follower but no fandom. Someone can have
Mm.
low follower but insane fandom. So there are many metrics to judge internet influence, and it can't be just from the influencer number. And I also talk about fake influencing influencers
Yes, yes.
who
Talk
are
about
on
that. Let's talk about
internet.
that. Fake influencing. I
So
mean,
there
I've seen
was
that. Some of them, it's just faltu accounts. Like, who the hell is watching them? But they've got like so many
so
followers.
many,
It's
yeah.
clearly fake.
I think it happens even on the YouTube also. You can fake views. So there
Yeah,
are many music companies who do it. There are
yeah.
many music. I think Basha was also accused of doing it
Yes,
for his
yes.
video. There was some news around it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there are many people who do it. does it like I was watching somebody send me ki, sir, please watch my independent film, and it got 1 million on the trailer. I said, no independent film gets 1 million, come on, on trailer. Then very good way to understand is that you may have 1 million view, okay, but that ratio has to match with the comment. So if you have
Yeah,
1 million you, then you must have this much of comment to suggest that these are the real views. So if you have 1 million you have 200 comments and all of them are love you, love you, love you, love you, good, 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 love you, love you. Obviously it's fake.
it's fake.
So it's very easy to understand fake influence in that terms. Like there can be that ratio of the view and the comment. So that's why I don't get so interested by somebody just showing off their views, because I know that most of them can be fake.
Yeah.
So similarly on Insta, there are many influencers who are now buying followers, and they are also buying comments.
Mm.
So my friend Gaurav, his account is Wanderda Gaurav Sharma. So he
Mm.
told me he's a travel influencer. He's the whistleblower of this industry, I guess.
Mm.
Through this. So he told me that once he went to an event and there were many people whom he has no idea who they are, and he is a travel influencer since long. And then he realized that all of them has bought fake followers, and through fake followers they get brand deals, get invited to these places. And then he started sending me so many people, so many profiles, and I realized, okay, there are many. So this is a very big scam that is going on, the idea
Yeah.
of fake follower. Yeah.
But the brands will wake up to it. I'm sure they already, like you said, they're already waking up to it,
Now
right?
they are, some of them are waking up. So
Because the
even between
marketing,
brand and there is
yeah,
agency. So agency
yeah.
has to, they hire like for example a Tata brand, they will hire agency to for the for let's say campaign. Now
Mm.
agency has also need to show them the number. So
Yeah.
they don't mind fake followers also. So they, because they also will give you numbers, so they will combine those and give us certain kind of number कि आज आपके इन videos पे इतने million views देखे गए हैं, इतना आया है. So they are happy, so client is also happy, they are also happy. But I think someday
But
they will
client
know.
has will wake up and say that
They
this
will
is
wake up.
fake,
Yeah, I
right?
think they are also very smart.
Already, yeah.
Business people are very smart. So now I think they have also changed some kind of a metrics. Now they also look at कि वो link पे कितने लोगों ने click किया, and फिर उसके
हाँ.
हिसाब से will decide the payment and something like that. Some new thing they have introduced these days. So yeah, that is also there.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, the whole thing is fake, right?
But there are very less people who are like
Doing
that,
that.
I would say. Not everybody is like that, but there are less people. But that YouTube fake view by music company is very much a thing, which is very much this. That's very much a thing. Yeah.
Okay.
This
Okay. So
trailer video, trailers, new film trailer. Then they also write 35 million in one day, 70 million in one day. These are not organic.
yeah,
So
really.
these days nothing is organic on internet, I would say. Like you have to really push. Sometime there is a guy whom I know. Obviously, I won't name him. So he makes his own fan accounts. So
It's
so
also absurd, yeah.
yeah, so he'll make his own fan accounts, and then he will also talk to them, thank you so much, just because of the fans like you I exist, I am humbled, honored. So I know very well that these are fake accounts. So I find it very amusing. Then sometimes they also give money to some of these accounts to make more fake accounts, so that the reels will, they will play the reels, and the algorithm will be bombarded with the reels of that only particular channel. So people do all
Oh, it's
these kind
also
of things.
things.
Yeah. So the influence is not really you became organically famous. There are very less people who organically there's a team, and there are strategies, and people do
Yeah,
a lot of things to
yeah.
manufacture the influence, I would say.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. And also this thing about, that Puneet Superstar's account being hacked, that was very
Yeah.
interesting. Hacked
My
by this
Turkish hacker.
Turkish guy who then he says he asked him for forgiveness and returned his account. Is it real or is that a figment of his imagination?
He's actually, the thing is that he is too lost in that imaginary world which he has built for the online universe, and the real world, that now he himself doesn't know what is real and what is fake. So I don't agree. I don't believe anything what he says, because I know. So that's why when people get emotional seeing him, or there were many emotional, I said, come on, I know him very well, so I am not buying these things. So even the charity thing also I talk about, that is
Uh,
also the content for the content. And I know he's a post morality person, and that is very much part of
Post
the
morality.
there are many creators who are post morality. So if you look at them through just from a moral lens, then you will not reach anywhere. For example, Baba Ka Dhaba, I mentioned,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is which became a middle class pilgrimage site for the
yeah.
kindness. So I talk about the violence of the kindness, because when
Yes.
they realize that Baba is not behaving as somebody whom they have helped,
Who's
and
grateful
since he is not
and
grateful,
humble. He
so
decides
so now he said, मैंने तो बुलाया ही नहीं. So when they
that.
realize that he's not performing the duty of a of a person who is helped, then they became extremely angry that he has to
Yeah.
perform according to their morality. And now Baba Ka Dhaba is making reels of गाली गलौच. So anybody who comes to his restaurant, उसको बहुत गाली देता है. मतलब बहुत गंदी गंदी गाली देता है. बोला ये ले रोटी भाग, बोला ये ले पनीर भाग. पहले ऐसे था कि बाबा ऐसे करके खड़ा था 3 साल पहले. अभी वो कहता है कि बाबा 20 रुपए है. कहता है पनीर कितने का है. कहता है कि 40 का. बोलता है बाबा मेरे पास तो सिर्फ 20 रुपए है. अच्छा तेरे पास 20 रुपए है, रुक. तो प्लेट पकड़ता है, पेपर की प्लेट, उसको फाड़ता है और उसको साइड में फेंकता है. उसमें थोड़ा सा पनीर, ये ले 20 रुपए का भाग. तो अभी बाबा ऑल्सो शिफ्टेड हिज, who was a symbol of a moral person and internet morality. Now he's abusing everyone. So that is extreme absurdity of internet. So if you look just this incident from a morality point of view, that oh morality. So this is one of the reason that I don't use romanticization or morality as a tool to understand internet, because I know everything is, there is a performance aspect of it. So if you look just from a morality, we became emotional about things, you are not going to understand, or apply too much of logic to it, then also you're not going to understand internet. So so yeah.
Okay, and on that very funny note, we will end. For the listeners and viewers, go out and get The Great Indian Brain Rot by Anurag Minus Verma. Love, Lies, and Algorithms in Digital India. Excellent book. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I love it.
Super. Thank you,
And
thank you so
I
much.
really read every page. Huh? So
I saw the
I'm not faking
markers.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so great. Thanks for talking
Super.
to me.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this one. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.